Hey everyone. So today we talk with the director and co-writer of a film called Money Talks. His name is Tony Mucci, and it's a great film. I'll play the trailer right here for you.
We have every right to dream heroic dreams.
I just need money.
Shit. Hold on, you don't got no.
You sure are a fine stripper.
Got some hallucinogens that'll make you think you just met God.
But you would make a better whore.
What? Where the fuck is my...
Just a heads up there, the audio on this episode is good, but not great. We had some software difficulties, and we've since fixed the problem. So sorry about that, but it's still a great episode and a great conversation. So without further ado, here is Tony Mucci. You're kind of a New York man, though, right?
Yes. So I grew up in New York. Definitely like obviously biased because of that. I'm also like Italian. So like when you're like Italian from New York, it's like a specific kind of like cut of the cloth, I guess. You're very like proud to be Italian and from New York.
Yeah.
But if you met like my family members, it's like straight up like Goodfellas, like slick backs, all that.
Nice.
My family used to like run like a motorcycle shop in Long Island. And obviously like my mom's Italian and my dad's Italian. So I definitely like grew up like watching Sopranos as like my comfort thing and like watching Goodfellas every Christmas. And because of that, I'm also even more biased of New York. And like, obviously I'm a big like Marvel fan growing up as well. And I just always thought it was interesting that every single Marvel story takes place in New York, which is also kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you always wonder like what's going on in the middle of America in the Marvel universe. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Or yes, that
like who's helping them? Who's
Spider-Man, like he was in like a cornfield or something. He's like, "Hey, come closer." I don't know if you've seen that one. I think that's Family Guy or something. But well, cool, man. So you were we'll just kind of start then.
Yeah.
So you were born in New York, grew up in New York, everything.
Yeah, so I grew up in like Long Island. So when you grow up in Long Island, you're always kind of like dreaming about going to the city, and like going to the city was like a big deal when you were a kid. And I just always remember like just looking up at the buildings and being like, "Oh my God, these things are so tall." But my town is a town called Port Washington, and there's like one hill in the town that when you're kind of like going over it, you can just see the whole skyline of the city. It's really not that far. It's kind of near where like like the Great Gatsby, like the East Egg. So there's like the West Egg and the East Egg. So Port Washington is in the East Egg. But I also kind of grew up at boarding school when I was like 12 years old. I went to a boarding school in the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire, and I went to various different schools, kind of jumped around a lot as a kid. And but always my family was always in New York. And then I did LA. I always wanted to make movies, and obviously thought that you had to go to LA to do that. And did like an internship out there when I was really young, because I studied computer science and wanted to make video games. So it was like, as a kid, it was like video games, movies. That was like my biggest passions, and I actually ended up getting like an internship at Activision, and was like working on like a lot of like the visual effects components of like the Call of Duty games and stuff. And there was this dude named Mike Sanders, who is one of like the inventors of like motion capture. He's like a legendary VFX artist. He like ran ILM for a good like 10 years. He was like the VFX supervisor at ILM. He worked on like the Star Wars prequels, and pretty sure he worked on like one of the original Star Wars movies when he was really young as like a matte painter or something. He's just super cool visual effects guy, does everything with his hands. And I was just like an intern there. But all the other interns like worked in the main office, and I was like the only one that worked in like the motion capture, like VFX office. So that was like just pretty mind opening. And that was my first time ever in LA. And it was just cool to, it's very similar to how they film the Avatar, where it's, doing the cutscenes for video games. It's, there's no real camera, but someone is still pretending to be a camera. Like, I mean, it was just like kind of fun about it.
Yeah.
But no, that was really cool. And I just thought that LA was the place to be. And I was super into like rap music in high school. And kind of got hit with the SoundCloud virus or whatever, and was just so into it. And like I just remember like listening to Lil Pump and being like, I want to do his videos, and like DMing him. And there was like this 3D stereoscopic camera called a Nishika N800. It's like a Japanese camera that came out in 1989. But I kind of was just going to concerts mostly in New York and just taking pictures. And I took a bunch of pictures of like ASAP Rocky with this like 3D film camera, and he posted them on his Instagram. And that was like a big moment for me when I was a kid. And I was like, oh my God. And I just started like, that was kind of how I got my foot in the door with a lot of rappers. And
Oh.
it's like through just going to concerts and just taking pictures of them. And, you know, as a kid, I thought that in order to do the music video for a rapper, you just needed to get the rapper to say like, I want you to do my video. Like, that's a good idea. Let's do it.
Mm.
But there's obviously the manager and the label and a whole bunch of behind the scenes logistics that go into making a music video. And so I just kind of ended up falling into the music video world. And I did that for like, started doing that in high school. So I did that for like 6 years of just random music videos here and there. And I kind of like hung up the video gloves and to do some short films, you know.
Started out making music videos. How many of those do you think you did? You did that for 6 years?
Yeah, so I've probably done over like 100 music videos. I've probably done around near like 50 like live action ones. Most of them were animated. I mean, if you were to count like lyric videos, because when COVID happened, I just kind of reached out to all my contacts and the labels and the people. I was like, hey, if you guys want like animations or lyric videos or whatever, let me know. And during that time, it was just like people, like, because people were still wanting to put out their music, but obviously they couldn't like film live action stuff. So there's like a shift in the music video world to like lyric videos and animated stuff. And I just had a good team of people and would love like writing animations. And I come from a Lego stop motion background. That's like what got me into film in the first place.
Oh, very cool.
So I did just a lot of like animated music videos for people. And one of the first videos I like worked on was there's these guys called the Real Goats. They're from Kansas. These two brothers. They're really awesome filmmakers. They were big mentors to me. I like dropped out of college after my freshman year, specifically because of an opportunity that this guy James Rico gave me. He was like, hey, you want to help out with filming all these videos for this guy named DaBaby? I was like, sure. And next thing you know, like we're on like Paramount Studios' back lot, and I can't believe it. You know? And like we're like came up with this concept where it was like Austin Powers, like the intro to Austin Powers. You know, he's walking down the street and he's like getting involved with everyone and singing and doing his dance. So we wrote like a music video treatment for DaBaby like that, and we filmed it on Paramount Studios' back lot. And that video has 600+ million views now on YouTube. It's called DaBaby Bop.
Nice.
And that was kind of the video that like convinced my parents that like, okay, we should like maybe allow him to keep making film stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Were they always kind of like,
they were,
oh, this is a phase, you'll grow out of it?
They definitely were like worried about me always. They were like, what is this kid doing? Like, they like, I mean, my mom is, they're definitely like creative people. And I'm sure some people can relate to this out there. My parents like literally crazy dramatic divorce, fucking hate each other, can't even be in the same room. So that's obviously a part of like the relationship. Like
artists, man.
Yeah. So very like few memories of them. Like actually, like as a kid, you kind of negative attention seek in order to like bring them together. You know what I mean? So they like, but anyways, they always kind of were just a little worried about me just because I was very spontaneous and I always was doing the film stuff, but my Legos were like all over the house, and my mom was always like, "The hell you like get these Legos like out of the kitchen?" Like, you know what I mean? I'd be like, "Yo, mom, I'm turning this corner of the kitchen table into like a stop motion film for the day." Like, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, and yeah. And then honestly, because my brother and sister were like really studious and like they're a little older than me, and they like really took the school thing seriously, and I just kind of dropped out without permission. That definitely was like a part of it. And I was like filming rappers, so I had to prove myself somehow.
Yeah, they're like, he dropped out of school and he's filming rappers, but you know, that would be a really cool thing.
my mom literally like bought me like a like bulletproof like like vest. Like I swear to God, like it's like
This is when you're shooting those music videos. You need to wear this vest. Was it for?
it was basically just because of that guy to baby. I was just on tour with him, and he famously just like was in a shootout in Walmart, and
Oh, so
you could literally like watch the video of him like in a shootout, and
Mhm.
he like literally killed someone and
Oh no!
got away with it because of self defense. You know,
Oh yeah.
it's a crazy video out there of him with his daughter going down an aisle in Walmart, and some guy comes up to him and pulls a gun out and points it at him, and is trying to rob the baby for his like diamonds or whatever, and the baby is like showing his gun, and is like they're yelling back and forth, and the baby just shot him first. You know, it's crazy, but it was like all over the news. So my mom was like, "What is going on?" It's like,
You know, if my son was like shooting music videos with the baby after that, I'd probably be like, it's just it's a light Kevlar vest. You can put it on under your normal clothes. So I'm on her side now. Yeah. Well, so
Yeah.
was that in LA? Were you still in LA when you were shooting those and stuff?
Yeah, most of the stuff was in LA. When you go on tour with the rapper, you're kind of all over the map.
Mm.
But the first video that I did with those guys, specifically the Real Goats and the Baby, was in New York, which is how I met them. They were coming to New York for a show, and I came to the concert, and then we just made a video that weekend, and just kind of help produce it and like be creative. And what I think what is special about all of this stuff is just like finding people that are just like pro positive creativity, sort of like energy, which I really give to Baby a lot of credit for. He was like the one rapper where like you only, like I said earlier, like you only needed his approval. You didn't need like all the behind the scenes approval and all that stuff. So he was literally like, he would fund all the videos himself, and that kind of allowed us to like do so much more and like have more fun and get things done faster. Where the other rappers and the other in the music industry, the music industry is a wild one. I'm sure a lot of people out there that work in the music video space can relate, but it's like they literally are like, hey, do this video, you're gonna film it on Friday, it's Wednesday, and we need it done by Monday.
Oh.
Like that's like how they operate. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah. All
you're
right.
like, sure, yeah, and like obviously you want to do it, so you go for it. But
Yeah.
it's very the labels, they pick these dates, and then they like kind of scramble for the creative last minute. They're like, this is when like the Spotify and like all these different places are going to give us the good slot for our release or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they like figure the creative out after. You know what I mean? Like they like figure out
That's not ideal.
Exactly.
So was narrative filmmaking always kind of your goal though, and this was kind of just like a stepping stone you were thinking?
Exactly. Like as a kid working on like the animations and stop motions, obviously you like, I was writing things without even realizing that this is like narrative filmmaking. I was just like really playing within the universe of Star Wars and doing like Lego Star Wars stop motions a lot, and like writing my own little stories.
Heck yeah.
And it wasn't until Avatar came out. So I was born in 1999, and so Avatar was like 2012, right? So I was like 13, where it just really like that movie specifically like just blew my freaking mind. And that was the first time I ever was like, let me like really do deep research on like how they did this, and like read a script. Like that was like my first time ever got like exposed to like what that is really almost as like a kid. I remember like sitting down and like reading. I had like my mom print the script out and like reading the script and like watching the movie while reading it and being like, oh my God, it's identical. Like it would have been like, what the hell? Like, like that's crazy. And then like around that time is when I kind of noticed that people like, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, all these amazing directors made short films. So I started trying to come up with ideas for like cool short films. And one thing that I was always really fascinated by was James Cameron's Xenogenesis short film.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I don't think.
I think it's one of his first projects. Really cool. It has stop motion in it, a lot of like forced perspective, and it's very much a precursor. It's like a Terminator, like like kind of like Easter egg, and I won't like spoil. It's only like a 15-minute short film, but it was really inspired by how it was a very much a precursor to like a bigger thing,
Yeah.
like a proof of concept. And yeah, so then my grandma, who's super Italian, just gives me $100 bill every year for my birthday. That's like her go-to gift, so like always. And that's what kind of sparked the idea, like around the, I was like in high school, and that's when I wrote pretty much Money Talks was like my first ever like proper script where I like wrote it in like a script format, because before, like the way I would kind of come up with things is like just kind of like envision like edits almost, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like this shot and this shot or something like that. So learning like script format was definitely like harder. And you kind of figure out that it's really just like the more you treat it almost like vomiting, the easier it is. like you just
Disassociating.
Just get it all out there. And then what I like to do is just like get it all out there, and then I'll work with, someone that's a screenplay writer and has a more of like a kind of different brain, like a more type A brain or whatever, and like come together and like, refine it, turn it into like a script, which is kind of what I wanted to do. Just because there's a Stanley Kubrick quote, when he made like Killer's Kiss and like his first two movies, Fear and Desire, Killer's Kiss specifically took him like 2 years to write, like as like a script. And he was never sure if it was good. He wrote it by himself and he just wasn't sure. And then for his next project, he made The Killing. He wrote it with two other people. He like hired someone that is a screenplay writer, and like his producer also wrote with him. And they wrote it in like a couple of months, and he knew it was good. Just because you're able to like ask each other questions, you know what I mean? Like figure things out.
It's confirmation and stuff, yeah.
And I definitely noticed, like for me a lot, as someone that's just, I don't know, getting like all fired up and passionate about things as you talk about it. Like as you're talking to someone, you like start to like come up with the ideas just from just like literally just trying to explain it almost, you know what I mean? And like you're like, oh, well, that's actually pretty good. Like you like throw it in there.
Yeah.
Which I definitely find is a big part of the process also too. So I love writing with someone, or always getting some sort of feedback, or especially like anyone, like my dad and my mom, and like a girlfriend or something. I feel like it makes a huge difference.
Totally. My buddy Cody Lightning, he has a writing partner too, and he and I are really similar, where I think we have ADD or something, ADHD.
Yeah,
we're just
me too.
Yeah. And so if you have ADHD, it's like a writing partner who doesn't.
Exactly.
Rank thoughts, but you need the ADHD person because they're going to think of all the novel, unique stuff that nobody else is thinking about.
Exactly.
So I was going to ask you, when did you go to film school then? When did you start that?
Yeah, so I've never done a proper film school experience, but
you dropped out of college, you said.
Yeah, I dropped out of college. I played Division I lacrosse in college, and I studied video game design.
Cool.
So I was doing like computer science and like 3D animation stuff. Those are like my classes, I guess. But playing sports in college was like a full-time job, honestly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I was going to ask did you drop out because it's kind of like the Curry Barker type thing where you're just like, I don't need this. I just want to go out and make movies.
Yeah, honestly, I give him so much credit. He's so cool. I look up to him a lot. He definitely is like a doer, which I really feel like is what it's all about. It's just about just like the art is in the doing of just going for it. Like me right now, I have a bunch of short films that I haven't like released publicly, but I give him a lot of credit for like he just puts it all out there,
Yeah, puts it out there. Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, definitely. Like, I just kind of like, for me, I did the boarding. I went to boarding school when I was 12. Right, so I literally lived away from home since I was 12. So by the time I was in college, I was just like, I already did this.
yeah. Like,
and also like, I just wasn't really like, I was in the lacrosse world, like it's very 9 to 5 kind of coded, where you wake up 6 a.m., you play lacrosse, you work out, you train, you go to class. If you miss class, the coach finds out, like, and like, I was just like, I don't know. I just was also had like at that age, I was a little bit of a shithead, as you always have to be, I guess. And I
Yeah.
was playing a lot of video games, and I was like live streaming Twitch. I actually was like had like a Fortnite
Nice.
moment where I'm actually really good at video games, so I like played in the Pro AM like Fortnite tournament, and I was doing all this stuff, and I don't know, I just like really just wanted to get out of school. And there's this artist, his name was Porter Robinson.
Mhm.
And I just really looked up to him, and I just kind of like, if I like someone, I'll try to find a way to, connect with them. And
Mhm.
I just connected with him through like Instagram DMs and started doing like his cover arts and like some stage visualizers for him, like for his concerts. He's like an EDM artist, and then he asked me if I wanted to be his like videographer and like go on a tour with him in Japan. And
Mhm.
being like an anime fan, and at the time never even like dreaming of going to Japan, pretty much. I
Mhm.
was like, absolutely. And I was gonna like leave school to do it, but my parents were like, definitely not. And like that was kind of like was like a little bit of a fuel. A little, I just wanted to like get out of there and like
Yeah.
make music videos. I don't know. I just kind of had a vision. I just always said that's what I was gonna do when I was in high school. Is I want to make these music videos for these people, and then I feel like the more you tell yourself you're going to do something, eventually it's a higher chance of it happening.
Yeah.
Like,
I think artists have to
like,
be roles, to some extent, to varying extents,
yeah.
So yeah, it's a good origin story, I think.
Yeah. Thanks, man. It's definitely a lot of fun. I feel like the music video space, the only thing about it is it's so hard to, make money and like make quality, just because, back in the day they would have $1 million music video budgets. Like they'd go on MTV and there'd be royalties and all that. Or like the average music video budget today is like 15K or less, even sometimes. And if you're lucky, you're getting more than that.
Mhm.
And you got to hire a crew, and you got to treat it properly and make it look good. And next thing you know, like that's definitely what it'll teach you, is how expensive it is to make films. Like
Yeah,
when,
yeah.
like,
Do you think when you went to boarding school at 12 that affected your filmmaking, or
yeah,
made it affected the themes of your filmmaking, maybe?
definitely. So, I think like when you have like an experience like that at that age, it like definitely like kind of keeps you at that age a little bit.
I
You know
totally.
what I mean?
Yep.
Like I feel like there's some psychology there.
Mhm.
But obviously it was like a big wake up call. Like, oh my God, I'm now at a different place.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know, I was just so into like comic books at the time, and Star Wars, and I just loved George Lucas and like Stan Lee and these type of people. And at the school we didn't really have access to the internet or anything like that, so you would use like the library computer, or you'd have like books and stuff, and just kind of made me go very internal, I feel like. But also like I met all these really cool people like that I would never have met, like my friends at the school. It has like a summer camp sort of vibe, just like the same. Like I guess some people like they meet someone at like a summer camp over the weekend, they build a strong connection because you're like living together and you're young. And
Mhm.
so like I was an all boys school, so like the boys, they
Mhm.
were like my really good friends. um and I just have so many memories as well. Like I feel like kind of helps me remember that age more.
Mhm.
um but obviously like it was like super strict. They literally like buzz your hair your first day you get there, and like you wear a uniform every day, and there's school on Saturdays, and it's like super traditional. So I was just like like made you like rebellious. And as a kid you don't like school usually, and now you like really don't like it because it's on Saturday. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I was
but
thinking, like,
that's gonna be my first feature film, is like about that.
oh, heck
Pretty
yeah,
much.
dude. I was gonna say, well, like,
Yeah.
people like even Spielberg, right? His parents got divorced when he was a kid, and he's got like Arrested Development a little
Mhm,
bit, like, and you can see it in his movies. He's got like that childlike sense
mhm,
of like awe or whatever. But I don't, maybe that's an important thing for an artist, is to kind of maintain that childlike quality.
mhm.
So you think first feature film is going to be about boarding school? You think?
Yeah, definitely. So it's called Bored in School,
Mm,
like a sentence, like I'm bored.
hmm.
And it's pretty much I'm gonna make the kid like 8th grade and his parents get divorced. He gets sent away to boarding school, coming of age comedy drama.
Mhm.
It's going to be told in chapters, like the seasons. So there'll be like a summer chapter, it's kind of like the opening of it, and like fall, winter, and spring.
Oh, nice.
Because what my parents freaking did to me is they told me I was going to like a lacrosse camp for the summer, and then I ended up going to like summer school, like boarding school.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of like the opening, the inciting incident, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much about like, kind of realizing, that you can't like go back to the way things are, or like, you can't like change the world, but you can make your own world and like invite people and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very much like Rushmore, like Wes Anderson's Rushmore meets like Dead Poet Society, kind of meets like Buster Keaton, like Charlie Chaplin, maybe like Mel Brooks, kind of like comedic like tone, because you're like in the kid's mind a lot,
Right.
and in the script, because as a kid I used to draw all the time, like, and so you're going into his notebook a lot and like going into this like animated world at times where he's like making fun of the teachers and things like that. And but no, it's been a lot of fun writing it, and it's like, because it's personal, there's definitely like a different feeling when working on it than like when I worked on Money Talks or the Sniper Project, because that's like completely fantasizing some sort of scenario, where this is like I'm like relying on my memory and stuff, so it's like different. It's very different,
Are you, so is the script finished?
Yeah, so I have like a vomit draft.
Nice.
And the goal is, to really have like a near final by the end of this year, is kind of what I've been telling myself.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Bored in school, and it'll probably take you a bit.
Yeah.
Are you gonna try to get it, like funded and get it like?
Yeah, I've kind of just been like telling myself, like, no matter what, like fall 2027, I'm just gonna like start filming.
Heck
just figure it out, So
I like it.
And hopefully it works out by that.
Yeah.
But I have some cool actors that I'll save as a surprise that are interested, and one of which is like developing it with me. So I think there's hope that it could happen.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I'll use that to transition into talking about some of our movies, because Scorsese's daughter is in your film, right? Francesca?
Yes.
In Money Talks. Yeah. So how did you, and then we'll start talking about like After Hours and Taxi Driver as influences. But yeah, how did you guys get Francesca involved?
Yeah, so it was pretty random and also spontaneous. So like the Money Talks script, it's been like marinating in my head, and I wrote like multiple versions of that over the course of like 10 years, because I wrote it when I was like in high school, and we didn't film it until 2024. And anyways, like a couple months before I wanted to film it, I kept visiting Money Talks, realizing that it was like bigger than I thought. And then this one person came around. His name was Tony Argento. He's this company called Broadway Stages. He's older, and he just kind of like opened the floodgates for me and gave me a bunch of free locations and like free picture cars and like some free equipment. And all this stuff. And he's been working in the film industry for over 50 years as like just owning like sound stages in New York.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, got an impressive. He's helped with Black Klansman and The Irishman, right?
Like everything. Pretty much like most major films that's filmed in New York over the last 50 years probably ended up on like a Broadway stages like lot or somehow. But when he was like young, he just started buying locations like in Queens and Brooklyn, and just saw an opportunity because these like factories were cheap or at the time, and just bought them and turned them into sound stages. That was like his vision. But he just took a big liking to me, and that because of that, I had this window to like make the project where he was going to allow me to use some of his stuff. And it was just super random. Francesca, she like came across my Instagram. And I was like, oh wow, like I didn't know Martin Scorsese even had a daughter, and she's also the same age as me. So I just shot her a follow, and then like I want to say like a few days later, she followed me back, and then I was like with my brother, and we were like eating some sushi, and I was just like, dude, holy shit, like, sorry I cursed, but like I was like, dude, Francesca Scorsese followed me back, like that's crazy. Obviously being a huge Martin Scorsese fan, and he was just like, you should put her in Money Talks. And I was like, oh, you're totally right. And then I was just like, oh, I got the perfect idea. We'll just do this taxi scene. also because the guy had an old school taxi as like one of the cars that he was going to let me use. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I just literally like immediately reached out to her and asked her if she would like, take a meeting with me. And then, I met with her team, her agents. She was like, yeah, this seems super cool. Like, I'd do this. And obviously you got to like convince the agents. And, I was like, praying to the film gods, and it worked out. And I met her for the first time on set, and she's like the sweetest person. And we had a lot of fun, and yeah, I would love to work with her again. And we just became good friends, and she's in New York. And obviously like would love to like have her dad see the film. He has not yet, but he's seen like the trailer or whatever.
It's so cool.
But no, it was a lot of fun working with her, and she's just got so much insight, obviously growing up with her dad being Martin Scorsese. So she'll like say little like stories here and there that you're just like, wow, that's so crazy, just about like being like 12 years old on like the Wolf of Wall Street set or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for New York, Marty's definitely like a huge deal. I feel also for like Italians as well. I feel like Italians were kind of like historically discriminated against like pretty heavily as immigrants until like things like The Godfather came out, or like people like Martin Scorsese and like Italian filmmakers kind of made us cool.
Rocky.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so thankful to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the movies that influenced you, and especially Money Talks. So the first two were After Hours and Taxi Driver. So yeah, why did those two kind of influence you? I know they're both kind of big impact.
Yeah. So obviously, like when I came to the story of the $100 bill, I just wanted to do it in 1981. That was just kind of a part, which I really love the name of your thing, like part of the spark of madness, which is very true when like an idea kind of comes to you. And I always notice, like, as you're directing or as you're working on something, it's always like the decisions you make that are the best are always kind of connected to that original spark that like started the whole path in the first place. So when I first had the idea, like Life of the Dollar Bill, I just immediately was like, okay, obviously I'm going to do it in New York in 1980, and it's going to be right when Empire Strikes Back just came out a few months ago. I don't know, just like all happened at once. So I was like thinking about it. And I was like, oh, like I'll do it on Reagan's inauguration, just because like I feel like when you in movies would really help sell the time period or like specific cultural moments, whether there's like a sporting game or something else that's happening. And obviously you got to do your research, and something that my dad always was telling me was just, this better be period piece accurate. Like I was 17 years old when this movie took place. Like, so my dad was like kind of hard on me about that, which I like loved and enjoyed. Yeah. But forgive me, what was the question again?
How do you think After Hours and Taxi Driver influenced?
So I just obviously like After Hours and Taxi Driver. After Hours is 1983, I believe, and Taxi Driver is set 1974, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
From your list, it says 76, but I don't know if we'll
76. Trust the list. That was like with Google's help. But that's just kind of, really showcases, because those movies are just as much almost like, documentaries in a way, where New York is like a full character, like, because they're filming in the streets without permits. There's pedestrians within the frames, and New York itself is like has a very strong presence, like a character in those films. And that's what I really wanted to get across in Money Talks, was the city itself, being a character. And if you go to, I was just always so fascinated with 42nd Street and 8th Avenue, which is like the crossing intersection of like the middle of New York. And at that time, the early 1970s until the early 1990s, it was literally movie theaters as far as like your eye could see. So like you look down to the right, movie theaters all the way to the Hudson River, look down your left, movie theaters all the way to the East River, just as far as the eye could see. And they all were playing like classics, like playing Star Wars, The Shining, these movies, Taxi Driver, all that, and also playing like pornos like Deep Throat, like side by side. And I just kind of found that to be like fascinating. And there's a documentary called 42nd Street that I also like really kind of blew my mind, just about the history of that street.
Oh.
And if you go there now today, you can still see all the movie theater marquees. Like they're all still there, but now they're like Five Guys or like some Chase Bank. But they kind of like turned the marquees into like whatever it is. It's kind of interesting to look at.
Yeah. Depressing.
But it was kind of the Vice City capital of Earth as well. Like my dad remembers like walking down that street because there was a lot of hookers, a lot of like prostitution, a lot of like violence. And in 1981 alone, that year had like 100,000 plus homicides across the 5 boroughs of New York. So like I just thought it just was an interesting setting to do something with some money, power, and sex, I guess.
Yeah,
it's the triple threat, as they say.
Yeah, why you did Reagan era 80s, but all that totally makes sense, especially if you're following a $100 bill and there's inflation in the 80s. It's crazy. And
exactly.
Yeah, I love it. I was surprised to see Star Wars on your list. How did that influence Money Talks?
Yeah, so I'm such a Star Wars junkie that like it just kind of influences like every decision I make in life. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I got to work with Sam Witwer on my last film. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's the voice actor of Darth Maul, and he's been doing that for years. He also the Force Unleashed video game. He played Star Killer in that game. Was like one of his first acting roles. He's been working with Star Wars for years as an actor. But he said something where he was like, Star Wars, because he's also such a huge Star Wars nerd himself. And he's like, he makes his decisions based on like what theme song is playing in his head. So he's like, if he's doing something and like Darth Vader's theme song is like the Imperial March is playing in his head, he kind of realizes like, oh, maybe that's not a good decision. But like if like, the sound of the Force is playing in his head, he'll make like the proper decision, which is kind of funny. But Star Wars, obviously, like I wanted to really showcase like, the hysteria and like how big it really was, because it really was like an anomaly film. And you do your research, like even my dad said that when Star Wars came out, he literally like waited in line at the local theater for like 5 hours to see it and was so blown away that like him and his brother and sister like all forced his mom like, we need to see that again tomorrow. And like they like once again waited in line 3 hours again to see it again the next day. And like they did that. He said he did that like once a week for like weeks. Wow. And like that's how crazy the movie was. And also it just was the genesis of surround sound. And what's like honestly beautiful about the movie industries is that like things kind of catch wind. Like George Lucas himself, there's a documentary called Light and Magic, and if you watch it, it's about like the final like 2 weeks where they did all the visual effects on that original Star Wars movie. And he talks about how they like didn't sleep. They were like reversing clips and doing all these different things to crunch in like 100 VFX shots in those 2 weeks. And they handed it in, and they all were like beat. And they're at the Johnny Rockets across the street from the Chinese theater where the movie like first played and premiered. And they were so exhausted they didn't even like watch it at the premiere. And like and they thought like George thought he like failed. He thought he did a bad job. But the people came out of the theater and they all were like, that was crazy. We want to see that again. And people were like buying tickets to go back in. And George like walked out the Johnny Rockets with his VFX team, and he just like couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
He just was like, what, these people like this? And then he kind of like used that power of the people liking it to, he like forced surround sound into every single movie theater across the world. He was like, if you want Star Wars, you have to use my surround sound.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it was like a turning point in movies. And there's so many cool facts about it. And if I had a time machine, like the first thing I would do is go to 1976 and just like watch them make Star Wars, like like or like go to the premiere and myself and just watch it for the first time and just like see the look on people's faces like in that time. But yeah, no, that was always like George Lucas was always kind of my guy just because of Star Wars. It just hit me at the perfect age, being a kid where like I kind of like my dad wears all black. I think he's Darth Vader. You know what I mean? Like he's like a businessman, Italian guy. Like so it just kind of it just worked for me.
Yeah, and I love the story of how he got the rights to like the sequels and the merch. It's just like awesome. And then he had full control after like starting with Empire, right?
Exactly. He really finessed the system and like the whole story, even how George even directed his first movie. I don't know if you ever heard it. It's like basically Francis Ford Coppola like lied to Warner Bros. which like there's all this mischievous stuff going on, which I love about those guys.
Yeah.
like, but yeah, pretty much like George Lucas won an internship from his college for having like the best short film or whatever. Like, and the internship was with Warner Bros. For the summer, and he was able to pick like a different. Could always, shadow the animation studio or shadow this movie or do this. And the first day it kind of gets like a full tour. And on the first day, Francis Ford Coppola was filming. It was like Phineas's Rainbow was the name of the movie, and George Lucas like shadowed the set for like a little bit, and George says in interviews, he's like, I thought it was pretty boring, and it made me want to like definitely not shadow the movie and shadow the animation studio. And Francis Ford Coppola came up to him and asked him like, what'd you think? Like, what'd you think? And he was like, yeah, I'm definitely not going to shadow this. I'm going to shadow the animation studio. And Francis was like, no, please, dude, like stay, like you seem cool. You seem smart. Like, how about this? Like, promise me that you'll stay and you come every day and you bring one good idea and that it will be in the movie. Will be in the movie. And like George was like, all right, sure. And he hung out and him and Francis became friends. And then George ended up making a documentary about that movie. It's called The Filmmaker. And it's just like him filming Francis Ford Coppola. It's like really comedic, honestly. Because Coppola is also doing all these like mischievous things to get the film done. Like they literally are going around knocking on doors in Long Island, in Garden City, and they're like knocking on doors and asking people if they could film in their house for like a couple hours for free, like for free, just like knocking on doors trying to get it done. And they're like, all right, it's not working. Like everyone shaved their beards, and everyone shaves their beards, and they do it again, and like it worked. And they're like, oh, and they're like, it worked. It's just like it's pretty funny. And but anyways, George was like, oh, I want to do documentaries. That's my thing. But Francis Ford Coppola was like, nah, like that short film that you made, like that sci-fi THX 1138 short film you made, we should make that into a movie. You should try directing. You have a director in you. Like, let's do that. And like, I already have this like 5-picture deal with Warner Bros. I could probably get them to, green light this movie. And they go to Warner Bros. With the THX 1138 short film and the, concept of it as a movie. And Warner Bros. Was like, absolutely not. This is like a weird movie. Like, we're not going to fund this.
Yeah.
And Francis Ford Coppola was like, okay, I know that they're going to get bought out. Like, I know that they're going to, Warner Bros. Is in the process of being like sold right now. So the people that we met with are not going to be there in like 2 months.
Right.
So I'm going to give you $250,000 to get started. Like, let's start making this movie. And then we're going to go back to Warner Bros. And we're going to tell them they promised us $500K more to finish the movie. and they're going to just tell us, because we're already filming, they're going to, give it to us. And it's literally what they did. And that allowed George Lucas to make his first movie, which made $0. It was a flop.
No. And
but like THX 1138.
I like it. And Coppola gave him like out of his own pocket $250K.
Exactly. So Coppola invested in the movie with the hopes of using that to like lie to Warner Bros. To get the rest of the money to fund the movie.
Yeah.
But I just find it very interesting. I just think that whole like era of filmmaking was just like, there was a lot of pioneers and like it was kind of like for the first time ever you could make like a lower budget movie like successful or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
Sam Raimi, I always think of Sam Raimi too, where I think they crowdfunded like hitting up dentists or something. Like
yeah, because the classic way to fundraise was like you go in a phone book and you just like try to find doctors and people and you just call them and you're like beg for money. That's how like the Coen brothers funded their first movie, and like the Russo brothers, that's how they funded their movie. It was like a thing where you just get a phone book and you just flip through it and you just find people that you think have money. You just ask them for it,
Yeah. Get on Google, all the dentists, all the physicians around town, just call them up. I should probably do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Mean Streets, did that one have as much of an impact on your stuff as After Hours or Taxi Driver?
Yeah, so looking at a Mean Streets poster right here.
Oh, heck yeah.
But it's like a Japanese one, but I just thought Mean Streets, like, once again was a testament, like, with how important like color it could be in making something. Like, I just feel like what makes a good film to me, I made like my 3 rules. It's memory. Is it memorable? And then like loss You can't have a movie without conflict. There needs to be some sort of inciting incident, something in the way the character wants something, or something in his way. It helps explain the human condition. We're always losing, and then fun. Those are like my 3 rules. And Mean Streets definitely was like super memorable to me, just with like how red and like how like saturated they went with the colors, especially at the time. And I just wanted to like kind of bring some sort of similar little bit of color theory to Money Talks. And I just love the scenes, like just the way the camera is moving around. Like I just love like the director's relationship with the camera. It's kind of like something that like I am picking up on a lot when I watch movies. Like I feel like Hitchcock was kind of like a pioneer of that. Like I'm like where the director is like, the camera work should either be like invisible or impossible, in my opinion. Like where it's like, but like at times the reason why it's like the camera's here though for a reason. Like it's telling you something, and I feel like Martin Scorsese was really like flexing that in Mean Streets. And then I just had my actor David Mazouz, watch it a bunch of times, and also my other actor Ethan Kuthosky, because the relationship between Harvey Keitel and Rob De Niro is kind of what I was trying to have like showcase in their scene that they do together in the alleyway. I just loved this, this character that's just like taking money from loan sharks. I'll pay it back another time. Like just kind of like in the streets of New York, kind of in like having an inevitable problem around the corner, just because like they're like the way they operate and the way they have their relationship with money. And then another character that also has this relationship with the streets and with money, but is more like disattached from it, like giving him advice. I don't know, that shows in that movie, because like De Niro's character owes $1,000 to the loan sharks and he ends up dying for it. Spoiler, sorry, but like, but it just, I don't know, I just feel like there's there's definitely an essence in Mean Streets that, connects with Money Talks. And I definitely feel like Mean Streets was one of the first movies as well that kind of like ended in violence. And then that became like a theme for a lot of movies, where like you have this movie, we have these characters, and like it feels very real, and then it ends in like a violent act. Like there's a lot of movies like that, like Hard Eight, and I feel like Mean Streets kind of like was the first one.
Do you remember Bad Lieutenant?
Yes, yeah.
Lieutenant come after Mean Streets, because I remember the ending of Bad Lieutenant and just being like, well, that's a
that came after, yeah.
Yeah, did it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspired by it then. All right, I have a couple rapid fire questions for you. You ready?
For sure.
All right. Favorite Scorsese?
Movie called Silence.
Oh, you like that one?
2016, yeah.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
I actually like got asked by Martin Scorsese himself, because he's a ball buster, especially like, and he's like, what's your favorite movie of mine? Like in like kind of like a ball busty way. Like, cause obviously you think someone's gonna say Wolf of Wall Street, like Goodfellas. I said Silence, and I could tell like he like really appreciated that.
It's his most personal film, right?
Yeah, he was like thank you.
Mine so far is but I haven't even seen Mean Streets. I haven't made it through all of them yet, and I have not seen Silence, and I have not seen Flower Moon yet. I saw The Irishman. That's probably one I could have skipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Silence was his first time where he was trying to do this like Akira Kurosawa like 3-hour masterpiece, which is like what The Irishman and like Flowers of Moon is like as well. But I think Silence is like by far my favorite out of those 3.
Wow. All right. I'm gonna take your recommendation then. So much for rapid fire, but here's another one for you. Is Disney killing Star Wars?
I think they already slaughtered it, and it's up to the fans to revive it somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do it. Like, how are they gonna do it? And
I think they already like murdered it like 10 times.
Yeah, they killed it a lot. Like I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, do you go in for like that? Oh well, they character assassinated all the people that we love, and they introduced.
I don't know, but at the same time, I will say that like for George, like to George's credit, like it makes the most sense in order to keep the universe alive. That like Disney would be the one to do it. You know what I mean? Like if you were to like pick some place for the universe to stay alive. So I do have hope, and I think Dave Filoni is the man. And now that he's in charge, I think that things will take a more creative shift.
Uh-huh.
I love Andor, obviously, like love The Mandalorian, like love like Rogue One's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know, I just like Star Wars, it's really just that sequel trilogy. It was like a joke with my friends growing up, like don't mention like Last Jedi around Mooch. Like he'll like I'll just like won't shut up about it. You know, just like won't shut up.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how you're gonna bring back Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, Harrison Ford, Han Solo, Princess Leia, all these characters,
Right.
the goats, and not put them in a scene together. Not once. Just
Yeah.
put them in a scene together. Just one time. That's it.
I didn't even recognize that they were like totally filmed separately and never had.
Yeah, they never had a scene together, which is just that's the biggest swing and a miss of the whole thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Just like put them in the Millennium Falcon cockpit together and just make us all cry. You know.
Yeah. Get the magic back with just like not having Harrison Ford. It's almost like trying to have Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford. How are you going to replace Han Solo? Like it's gonna be, they have their work cut out for him. So, but I'm open-minded. Yeah.
I'm open-minded as well too. I have a couple Star Wars movie pitches that hopefully one day we can make happen.
Oh, dude, heck yeah. That'd be so amazing. I'd love that.
So I got to be careful what I say. No,
yeah. Well, hopefully they've recognized that they need the help of.
I feel like whenever like someone like Jon Favreau, like he's such like because he's just I feel like they need more like mega nerd like true fans that they just like let do their thing. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's what makes success in like those type of universes. You know?
Yeah, cut the artists loose and not like have these producers come in and. Oh, well, we're gonna roll things out like this, and this story have to
because it's similar to the music video thing where they're like, okay, like we're gonna need 2 Star Wars movies this year.
Yeah,
but they're like, what are they? You
yeah,
know what I mean?
it's just like
they know they need them,
and then they're like, they just don't let the artists do their work. So
yeah,
hopefully they've learned their lesson though. Hopefully all of Hollywood is kind of turning. All of Disney is kind of hopefully turning, but that remains to be seen. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. My next one was you have a shot in your film with the gun in the mouth, like from inside the mouth.
Yes.
And I love that. And I saw it in the trailer and I thought it was really cool. What inspired that one? Is that from anything or did that just pop in your head?
Yeah, just kind of, I guess it came from like my music video background. It just kind of popped in my head. And I guess like I was always trying to like, where can I put the camera that is, impossible? Like, I don't know, like what's like an impossible place. And I've seen the inside the mouth shot like from music videos before, but I've never seen a gun in the mouth.
I have either, yeah.
So, which is what I guess made it like my own,
Totally.
Hang on one second. I'll show you the mouth. I have it.
Oh, heck yeah. I was going to ask.
Bought this from a dentist.
Oh, nice. I love
there
that.
You go. That's pretty much has Kirby in there right now.
That's nice.
What is that? That's pretty much the shot.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Yep. And then we my production design team, we like wrapped it in this like silicone, which is the gums.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just put a probe lens in the back of it, and
perfect. I love that.
There you go.
Like that on Wonka, I think. Like because his dad was a dentist or whatever. But I think your shot's better because it's like the gun in the mouth coming, like it makes it more iconic. I think so. I loved it,
man.
I loved it.
There's like no CGI technically except for I like shot it with the gun in focus, and then I shot it with the actor in focus, and then I like split the frame and made them both in focus, so it feels like a full focus. Because I just thought that would make it more like jarring and kind of like what am I looking at a little bit,
kind of the diopter-ish kind of.
Exactly, it has like a split diopter vibe as well, which is like kind of was like the thing at the time,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if that is that CGI or was that just compositing.
I guess that's compositing. I guess so.
It's cool.
Some stitching,
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's go through a couple more movies. I know we got like 30 minutes left, but what's a really good one? I haven't seen Boogie Nights yet. I just bought the 4K. So how did that impact things?
So I think Paul Thomas Anderson is just like a true like, once again, like the director's relationship with the camera is like what I connect with a lot, and where he puts his camera is just like fucking phenomenal. And the frames he creates and the compositions, and also the characters he makes. And Dirk Diggler is just like a hilarious character, and the movie is one of one. The movie about the life of a porn star. Also, like once again, so my film takes place in 1981, and porn just like took over the world. Like porn came out in the middle of the 70s. You could, like I said, you could watch porn in movie theaters, and I just thought that was interesting. So just that porn kind of culture a little bit is kind of like some inspiration there.
Yeah.
And then, the way it's edited, the sound choices, the editing, the style, the way it kind of has like a consistent like go, go, go sort of energy in that movie. And then me being a huge Kubrick fan, I just also was interested that Kubrick was like had very high praise for that movie.
Mhm.
He liked that movie so much that he actually flew Paul Thomas Anderson out, young Paul Thomas Anderson, to shadow him on the Eyes Wide Shut set.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so just kind of thought that was fascinating too.
Did you like PTA's newest movie?
I did. I did. I mean, I didn't think it's not my favorite PTA movie, but I did enjoy it. I mean, I think like there's so many crazy cinematic moments and there's so much to like enjoy. But I did feel like there was like some, it does feel like one battle after another. I did feel like the plot kind of was like convenient at times, where it was like they went that way. It was like, oh, okay, great. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And then he finds guys on the side of the road, and they tell him where to go. So
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of like little, and then like there's kind of moments like when the guy pulls up with the shotgun out of nowhere and like shoots him in the face. I'm like, wait, how did he know he was there?
Yeah.
And like he also took a shotgun blast to the face, and the car like rolled and exploded, and then he was fine.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a little
like. So it's like a little comedic at times because of that, but like
he may have been going for that too, because I was like, it is ridiculous and over the top, and he knows. So maybe just.
But you gotta like love it for that. You gotta love it for that. And I thought the performances were good. I just thought like, I mean, in no way, shape, or form was it like a bad movie. It's very entertaining, but like Tiana Taylor's character, I just felt like her disappearing and then like never coming back was an interesting choice. Like I feel like there could have been something there, maybe more, but I liked it. My favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie would be like Boogie Nights or like There'll Be Blood, though, for sure.
Yeah, those are two great ones. Yeah, and I'm sad that the movie lost money too, and I'm not really sure. Maybe it was because it got politicized almost on both sides. Like people didn't like that Taylor's character was made to be kind of awful.
Yeah.
And on the other side, people were like, "Oh, it's woke. It has to do with like border stuff." And
I hate all that is just like an agenda. I feel like it just takes you out of the movie, like even just as like critically, like because you read something, if you read it before you see it, you're gonna think it a little bit when you're watching it. You know what I'm saying? So like if someone says like, oh, like this movie is like blah 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 blah, like I don't know. I wish that people weren't as harsh as they are.
Benicio's performance in that was probably one of my favorite things, and he was
so
effortless like with it too. And I don't know how he did it, but he was just one of my favorite characters in that.
And like the behind the scenes as well, he like didn't have like much time to prepare. So like a lot of what he, because he was coming right off the Wes Anderson movie is what they're saying, like right into the One Battle After Another production. So a lot of the stuff that he was doing was like just improv, kind of like on the whim. Like I feel like matched that character very very like very nicely.
Like the courage, Bob, like that. I wonder if it probably was. All right,
I just love the idea of a character just named Sensei. Also,
yeah,
you know what I mean. Just like
yeah. There's definitely some just absurdity in there, which I love. That's just like sprinkled over it with like the that secret society of super white dudes that like assemble. I can't remember what it's called because
they're like Saint Nick or whatever. They're like that was interesting. I was confused on that, but I was definitely like, what is like leaning in,
I think that's his ADHD where he's just like he got like some like what if there's a secret society and then just injected that and it ends up being like a 3.5 hour movie or whatever it was. But I think he pulled it all together at the end. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So you had Ridley Scott's Napoleon, which I have not seen. You said that's just an influence for the sex scene. What happened in Napoleon that influenced the sex scene?
Yeah, so once again, me being like a massive Kubrick fan, there's literally like the Kubrick's Napoleon is like the movie that never happened. And there's like a book you could buy. They made like a couple hundred copies of it. And it's just a copy of like Kubrick's Napoleon book. He like made this like huge book to prepare himself to make the movie for years. And he wrote a whole script, all these location scouting, all these different things. So when I found out that Ridley Scott was making a Napoleon movie and that like he like the Kubrick estate like provided everything to him for the movie, I was like, oh no way, it's gonna be awesome. But I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think the movie. I think if Kubrick did the movie, I think it would be like 1,000 times better. The Kubrick script was like from birth to death on Napoleon, which would have been kind of interesting to have like a little circling there. But I just thought that in the Napoleon movie, like I had my actors watch the sex scenes in it just because we had a sex scene in Money Talks, and I really wanted to showcase like and Napoleon's a little bit darker, honestly, but like I wanted to showcase where like the female character, like just the way it was framed. I copied the framing of like the sex scenes because like the female character is like obviously pretending to have a good time, and like the male character is obviously in his own world having a good time. So like I was just trying to like get across, and thankfully enough, I had very professional actors that understood the vision and didn't make it cringe with me. So
Yeah, that's good.
and then obviously like nowadays you work with intimacy coordinators, and which is a newer thing in the film industry since like COVID. But so that was interesting, like having to meet. I met with like 5 different intimacy coordinators, like just because like my producer just gave me options, and yeah, it was just funny to like go over that over and over again. Some of them were like really, really, really into it.
Yeah,
and, like wanting to know like all the little specifics and like little like
all
reasons, like why this, why that, and I'm like,
because they're having sex.
like, but it's definitely a funny thing to film.
Yeah.
But,
Wait, I didn't know that Kubrick had a whole thing with Napoleon that kind of it's like Jodorowsky's Dune or whatever with the whole book and everything. I didn't know that was a thing with Kubrick, so that's kind of cool.
yeah, he decided to shelf it just because the budget he had, he just felt he couldn't do the scale like that he was trying to do. And he did so much work for it. He even like had test shots of like hundreds of people in a field where like they built like specific types of like the people in the foreground have a nice uniforms and the people in the far distance have like just the colors, and like he was just like testing to see if like that would work. He was just trying to find a way, like he like Kubrick would just put a lot of his own money into like pre-productional like testings and things like that. And there's various projects where he did a lot of work on and then just decided that it wasn't possible.
That sounds right.
And like he literally, when his AI movie was called The Pinocchio Story, he was working on that immediately after Space Odyssey. He was like, I want to make a movie about an artificial intelligence that thinks it's a real boy. And he had his production design and visual effects team, which was the best in the world at the time. Trying to make an animatronic robot that can act as the main character. And they spent like 5 years like making different versions of this like real boy, like because Kubrick was like, I want a robot to act in my movie. I want a robot to act in my movie. Yeah. And then he just realized that, all right, it's not possible.
And then Spielberg uses Haley Joel Osment or something. I don't know if that
exactly
influenced Spielberg's or not, but
so it's the same script.
Is it?
So basically, Kubrick, really right before he died, called Spielberg up and was like, "Hey, I want to give you this movie. Would you do it? Just because you have a way better understanding of visual effects and CGI and all this stuff." Like, and yeah, I guess that's how that movie came about. That movie's nuts. The movie's got a lot of like deeper, weird meanings to it. There's a lot of conspiracies about the AI movie.
Really? I haven't seen it because I was like, I just rewatch all my favorite Spielbergs. I haven't seen AI. Is it worth watching?
I would say so. I mean, I'm a huge Kubrick fan, and it has a lot of it's very much a Steven Spielberg movie, but it's written by Stanley Kubrick, and they worked on it together for 6 months. And the Kubrick died like, right before they went into production. And like you could tell Steven, if you watch all the interviews, Steven like really like made it for him. Trying to like honor him, and it's a very interesting movie just because of that. And also because obviously like the whole Stanley Kubrick related conspiracies where people think that he was killed, people think that like he shot the moon landing and all that stuff. There's like all these little weird things in that movie that kind of like people like turn into conspiracies, and I'm into all that. So yeah,
I love it. Where do you get all these fun facts? Are you just reading all the film history books, or are you just watching?
I don't know. I think it just comes from being like passionate about it and like remembering it. And I had like I love YouTube, so like I spent a lot of time watching it. Like I have a crazy DVD wall in my room I could show you. So I spend I'll like throw a DVD. The same thing. You have something on the background. I like putting on like, like I'll buy like like Mean Streets, like a couple years ago, came out with a copy where it had Martin Scorsese just talking over the whole movie. Like, so you watch the movie, but it's him just talking over like his experience of making it while watching it. Like things like that, or the making ofs on YouTube and stuff like that. Like you'll learn things that like you'll learn some interesting nuanced fact about like the process behind a movie that just definitely like makes you realize that like the art it really is in the doing, like we were saying earlier, and that like you kind of figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
I mean, like even like one of my favorite stories. Sorry, I keep rambling, but like the 10 Commandments, like Cecil B. DeMille. That was like the most expensive movie at the time. And, there's like a famous story where they're filming the huge chase scene of the Egyptians chasing the Jews out of Egypt, like the parting of the Red Sea, all that. But it was a huge chase scene in the desert, and they had thousands of people, and they had 10 big crank cameras. And they do the scene, and all 10 of the cameras within the chaos pretty much got like destroyed. And like, they got jammed, and they couldn't capture it. And, he said to the furthest away camera, like all the way furthest away, Cecil B. DeMille was like yelling at him, like, did you get it? Did you get it? And the guy yelled back, like, I'm ready whenever you are, CB. Like, because he thought they were doing rehearsal. And like, that's just so funny because it's just the #1 production possible, but there's just all these like chaotic, messy stuff happening.
Yeah.
And then like also like how they parted the Red Sea was literally Jello. They like filmed wiggling Jello on a plate, and then they like composited like the people walking through the desert as like the alley, and that's how they do that. The scene, which is just also funny, is it's like a multi-million-dollar production, and they're like filming Jello.
Yeah,
It's just like that alone just says a lot about filmmaking. It's just
you
like,
use what works, not the most expensive thing.
exactly.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. So, do you watch The Fabelmans? Like, is that kind of a personal movie to you since Spielberg's?
Yeah, so that's like a huge inspiration for like boarding school for sure. Just because like a kid dealing with divorce, and also a kid that's like into film and like wants to make movies. I don't know. I love that movie, and me, just like I mentioned, like I love watching interviews of people I'm invested in, and I've seen like so many Spielberg interviews, and watching that movie, you're like kind of watching like the stories that he's told in interviews like play out, and so it's kind of interesting. But once again, like something that I really was going for in Money Talks, I was very like much like you said, that like kind of childlike wonder that Spielberg has, and then that like kind of like grit that like a New York Brian De Palma or like Scorsese or film would have. It was like I was kind of trying to like marry the two a little bit in terms of the tone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love that, dude. I love it. So let's see. Well, sweet, man. So I think we got through all my questions. So thanks a lot for coming on.
Cool. Yeah, tell me a little bit about Spark of Madness.
Dude, it was great, and we had your film in a great slot, and people loved it. And
sick.
Yeah, our headliner this year was John Heater from Napoleon Dynamite, because we're in Southeast Idaho, and they made Napoleon Dynamite in Southeast Idaho.
So cool.
And I'm a big Jared Hess fan, so if I could get Jared Hess, if you're listening to this, I need him to come up because I'm a big Jared Hess fan. But
hell yeah, I'm a big Jared Hess fan too. He and maybe there's a way,
Yeah, it'd be great. And we were able to give out some cash prizes and stuff, and hopefully next year we get even more submissions and
cool, man.
Just keep building it. So yeah, it went great, and hopefully next year's even better.
If you're out there, put your short films in Spark of Madness. I'm putting all my short films in Spark of Madness.
Heck yeah, dude. Said you have some that you're not gonna release, or
so yeah. So I have 5 short films, Money Talks, and I have 2 that are completed. Money Talks being one of them. One is literally a 1 minute long. The other one that's completed is called Starry Night. It's about like 2 kids just kind of looking up at the sky. There's like a little plot twist there. And that one I'd love to put into some festivals. And I have like another one that's like really trippy, like about astral projection, and it's like very like 8.5 inspired, that movie. It's like a I just love movies that are about like making movies as well. So it's about that as well, and it's like where ideas come from, and that's like a 5-minute one. And then I have this Sniper project, which is even longer than Money Talks and more ambitious and more expensive. And it's because I had the opportunity through Money Talks to like Shadow the Russo brothers
Mm.
direct the Doomsday set, the Doomsday Marvel movie last summer. I
Mhm.
spent like a couple of days on their set, and it just I had this sniper idea, which is kind of like my like audition for like an action sort of movie.
Mm.
Um, and because I was on that set, I was like, okay, I have to do this and get it in front of these guys and like
Yeah.
show them that I can replicate something like this and make a action indie sort of style movie.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much what I did, and I worked with like a lot of really cool like stunt performers and stuff like that, and it has like a kung fu vibe, but it's called Sniper.
Mhm.
It's like Call of Duty meets like The Matrix meets like Kill Bill,
I love all those things.
and it's got a bunch of cool people in it, and we'll see it at the Spark of Madness Festival, hopefully.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
If you'll
like
have- yeah.
give you all the waiver codes. Submit all your stuff because I would love
Yeah.
more stuff.
I want to go. I want to go. I want to hang out in that hot spring.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I will give you all the waiver codes, and I want to see all the movies. Yeah, hopefully,
Thank you.
yeah, out here. New York's a ways away, but at least I definitely want to see the movies. So.
Definitely. What is that, like a rock or like a fossil of some kind on the wall behind you, by the way?
Right now it's just a piece of beech wood that my mom had at her house in Oregon, and it's just kind of like what I have. But I think I'm gonna put like a neon sign, Spark of Madness back there.
Sick.
I think that's the next step. So
Cool.
cool,
Well,
man.
it looks cool.
Yeah, it's not too bad, right? And I
Yeah.
got the Plan 9 going in the background. It's not too bad.
Yeah, you got your gadgets. I feel like we're all collectors as well. I feel like filmmakers feel like
Yeah,
yeah.
I do have too many things. Like I have the two projectors, like we were talking about. I have a bunch of Sony cameras, which when I can't make films, I'm just like, well, I'm gonna buy gear then, and I should stop doing that because I need to like use that money to pay actors. So I've sold most of my cameras. I just got a couple Sonys now, but yeah, hopefully I can make. I got a few scripts. I got one that's like way too big, so I'm moving on to the next one because that one's like a $30 to $50 million movie, and so
Classic.
yeah, so
Like,
for a comedy script, kind of a dark comedy, and hopefully I can just shoot that one myself. So
hell yeah.
yeah,
Hell yeah, dude.
well, cool,
Well,
man.
if you ever need some gear and you're in New York, let me know. I also have the same issue. I got a lot of like
Yeah. There's another New Yorker. She's just down the street from you, named Taylor Blackwell, and she's doing like TV spots and stuff. But she wrote and directed a film called the Judy Tenuta story. It happened, and we screened that one too. And I think it was around. I don't know if we screened it in the same block as yours, but if you ever,
she's been in a lot of stuff. She's an actress.
yeah, and she's
Yeah.
a wonderful writer director. She's a musician. She's like in a punk rock band. She's just like killing it on all levels. So
Super cool.
you should follow her on Instagram. Maybe you guys will probably bump into each other. I know New York's big, but you never know.
That's what I love about New York is like you actually do just like randomly like run into people or see people on the street. You know,
Yeah.
like it's a big it's a lot of people, but there's what I like about New York more than LA is you actually like walk outside and you like see people.
Not
I mean,
everybody
like
in their cars, like
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And
nightmare.
like people actually will like talk to you in New York and stuff. You know what I mean? They'll be like, "Hey, who are you?" You know, like nice to meet you. Where in LA, it's like it's less of that. I feel like.
Really, I would have thought it was the opposite. Like New York has the reputation of being so like we're tough, we're unfriendly, and
Well, yeah, they definitely have that. There's just more people. Yeah, New York definitely has that as well. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of my way. Like, I'm on the move kind of vibe.
yeah,
but-
yeah.
There's like a joke that I think it was Dave Chappelle. I forget which comedian said it, but it's like if you popped a tire on the street, like in LA, people would like, yell at you to get out of the way, like or drive by you and like look at you in disgust. Where in New York, someone would literally like hop out of the car and like curse you out and like be like, "What the hell are you doing?" But also like change your tire for you.
Nice.
So it kind of has that like I like to think that like New York has that like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 like subway train energy, like you got to go through me, like kind of vibes.
Yeah, like we're all together kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
There's something there.
That way
It's
it's spread out to have that kind of unity, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I'll send you all the waiver codes and can't wait to watch your stuff. I think we're gonna open submissions next month. So
Hell yeah. I'll send you like a little sizzle reel of my recent film. It's just there's a lot of CGI in it, so it's missing, but you could just check out some of the cool shots and see some moments and stuff.
yeah, that sounds great, man. All right, thanks a lot, and we'll talk
For
soon.
sure. Sounds good. It's nice talking to you, John.
Yeah, back at you. Thanks, man.
Take care.
You too.